the Saints change things up and go under the lights uptown. And even with their top two cornerbacks out, the secondary is looking solid. Plus, our experts weigh in on the Saints' biggest concerns and just how quickly will this year's rookie draft class see the field. Morten Andersen is enshrined in Canton, and we check in at both Tulane and LSU fall camps.
This is the last word on sports. Fourth Down on 4 starts now.
10 practices into training camp, and tonight the Saints took it outdoors 4 days before the preseason opener. I'm Doug Mouton. Welcome to Fourth Down on 4. We're going to start tonight at Tulane's Yulman Stadium, where Leslie Spoon and a nice-sized crowd turned out to see the black and gold practice. Leslie joins us live uptown. Fun night, Leslie?
Hey, Doug, it really was. At least 5,000 fans here in attendance for a short, high-energy practice, a nice warm-up heading into Thursday's preseason opener. Here's tonight's Plays of the Day. Play number 5, the Saints brought in another kicker. Will Lutz responded to the competition with a perfect night, including a 58-yarder and this 60-yarder. Play number 4, Drew Brees drops back. Alex Okafor wants the job opposite Cam Jordan. He gets the sack. Play number 3, Chase Daniel looking for Alvin Kamara, but New Orleans native Arthur Millette gets a nice break on the ball. Play number 2, Tommy Lee Lewis on the reverse, heads down the sideline fighting for extra yards, and Adam Big Hill lights him up. And play number 1, Adrian Peterson can catch 2. He wasn't going to be denied the end zone. The crowd amped up the energy level tonight.
Oh, it was awesome. You know what I'm saying? You practice at the same time every day. Things start to become repetitive. And just to change up, having a lot of fans out here at a different pace. It's good for the young guys, too, to get ready to play at nighttime for the preseason. It's a big change up from what playing at, noon games a lot of times during the season. So it's good for them to get acclimated and playing at nighttime.
It was a great experience. We definitely needed this during camp. We go every day at the facilities against one another. So, it's great having the fan atmosphere out here. Gets us going a little bit harder.
All right, and since the Saints practice tonight, tomorrow's practice has been pushed back for recovery time. It is now closed to the public. The Saints' next open practice is a week from today. Reporting at Yulman Stadium, Leslie Spoon, Fourth Down on 4.
All right, thanks, Leslie. The analytic website Pro Football Focus ranked the Saints' overall pass coverage 31st best in the NFL last season. That's not surprising given the crazy rash of injuries the team had at cornerback. But in the first full week of camp, that position now looks like it's getting a major upgrade. It's not a good thing when your top two corners, Delvin Breaux and rookie first-rounder Marshon Lattimore, are not practicing. But it has shined a light on just how much better the rest of the group is. And actually, after Breaux and Lattimore, the Saints' best corner might be second-year man Ken Crawley, number 20. Crawley was an undrafted rookie from Colorado last season who was forced to play immediately, and he struggled. But in the first 10 days of training camp, he's been terrific.
I think he's playing with a lot more confidence, and obviously he's a year into the system now, and he can run and he's long. And those are good traits for a corner.
I feel more comfortable in the scheme. This is my second year, and just put my head in the books and knowing everybody's job and responsibility on the field. That's what we got to expand to, and I just say compete and trust in myself.
Crawley has been the best of the bunch so far, but number 24, Sterling Moore, has done some nice things. Moore was the Saints' highest graded corner last season. Undrafted rookie Arthur Millette has made plays. So has third-year man Damian Swann, who's only played 7 games in 2 seasons because of injuries. And number 21, Devontae Harris, has definitely taken a big step forward.
I feel way different. A little bit like the game kind of slowed down for me as far as scheme-wise, and I put on a little bit more weight, got in the weight room a little bit in this off-season, so I'm able to get hands on guys, but I feel a lot different, man, a lot more comfortable.
Let's go! If Breaux and Lattimore can return healthy, what was probably the Saints' weakest position in 2016 could be a strength.
They're hungry this year, and you can feel it on the line of scrimmage. I mean, you can feel everything that they do from the open line of communication that they have, and the way they've been actively talking off the field about being on the field.
Yeah, Breaux and Lattimore did not practice Sunday night at Tulane, and P.J. Williams now has some catching up to do because the next 5 have all done good things in camp. Crawley, Harris, Sterling Moore, Swann, and Millette. Butler and Calhoun make it 10 corners in camp. It'll be very interesting to see how that position plays out in the preseason, because in today's NFL, you can never have enough good cover guys. We asked 5 journalists who cover the Saints what's their biggest concern right now, and the defensive concerns begin with those injuries at cornerback.
Well, I think it's the cornerback injuries. You haven't had Marshawn Lattimore or Delvin Breaux, really going live for a while. It's a position that's been up and down. Now, obviously those don't appear to be serious, but you want to see those guys out there. You want to see them playing. The one good thing is it's gotten some of the younger guys time, and Ken Crawley's been good, but you still want to get your top 2 or 3 corners out there a lot, and with those guys hurt, it's been hard to do that early.
It's still the pass rush. I mean, we don't know if they're good or bad because they're not live tackling to the ground. They're getting there sometimes, but just the makeup of the roster, I'm not worried about the offense. This offense, to borrow an old Sean Payton line, doesn't keep me up at night. I just don't know how this pass rush is going to get remarkably improved, especially after they lost Nick Fairley. Alex Okafor had a sack today. He's done some nice things. Ali Kakaha looks a little better than we've seen. I expect big things from Sheldon Rankins, but we haven't seen it in 3 years, so that's the one area where they're going to have to overachieve like they did in that 2013 season.
The pass rush, we've seen a little bit of it. There's been flashes, but I think for the season as a whole, just seeing that more consistently will determine really how the outcome of the season goes.
Coming up, Michael Thomas was a stud as a rookie for the Saints last season. So how quickly will this year's draft class make an impact on the field? We'll analyze that, plus a consensus problem with one Saint veteran on the injury report. Plus, the Great Dane became a Saints legend with kicks like this. He's now a member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And later, LSU is battling injuries up front in fall camp, while the Green Wave has plenty of talent ready to go on defense. Pro Football Focus says the Saints struck gold with wide receiver Mike Thomas. He was a second-round pick who the analytic website calls one of the best value draft picks of the past 5 years. Now, that website ranked all 32 NFL teams for their drafts over the past 5 years. They ranked the Saints for their drafting ability from 12 to 16, the 24th best of 32 teams. And if not for Thomas, the Saints would be a lot lower than that. Obviously, 24th best helps explain 3 straight losing seasons. But this year's draft class looks like it really could be a good one. And Leslie Spoon reports a handful of those rookies could make an early impact.
You usually can't tell if a draft class is a big win or a bust until several years later. For example, there isn't a single player remaining on the Saints roster from their 2014 class. But 10 practices in, New Orleans' 2017 draft class is looking pretty stout. Their top 5 picks could see some serious playing time this season.
Marshawn Lattimore.
11th overall pick Marshawn Lattimore has the tools to start right away opposite Delvin Breaux at corner, or at least be used in sub packages. He's physical off the line like Breaux, but both have missed practices with injuries. Lattimore left the field on Tuesday.
It's not a hamstring or anything. You guys need tweak to. I think he'll be fine, and it won't be long.
Payton stressed it wasn't a hamstring injury. He wanted to clear that up because Lattimore had to have surgery on both his left and right hamstring in college. There's a lot of depth at corner right now by design. Last year, the only requirement to play was being healthy. The Saints used their other first-round pick on a tackle. That didn't sit well with fans at first, but it turned out to be a brilliant pick. With Teron Armstead out for at least the first part of the season, Ryan Ramczyk will more than likely start at left tackle week 1.
Obviously, there's still a lot of room to improve on things, little details and stuff, but so far I'm feeling confident with the offense and going out there and playing fast.
The Saints' second-round pick, safety Marcus Williams, demanded everyone's attention with a highlight play in Wednesday's practice, picking off Drew Brees.
I was encouraged. It was, listen, it was a rep versus the ones. It's one of the things he does well is track locate. He's very smart, and we just got to keep giving him those reps.
Williams says the game is already slowing down for him. He's been getting reps mostly with the second team with Kenny Vaccaro and Von Bell starting and veteran Raphael Bush also in the mix. But remember, the Saints used a lot of 3 safety sets last season. That and his versatility will help him get on the field.
In practice, I was always going down and playing in the box or playing in the post, but I always make sure that I know multiple positions so that I'm able to play both.
Saints third-round pick Alvin Kamara was what Sean Payton called an intriguing player before he went on a visit to the University of Tennessee, after he became a target.
It was real evident in the first half hour of how smart he was. I mean, he was in with the quarterbacks, he understood schemes, he understood route reads, concepts, and even on the field.
Payton compared Kamara to one of his former players, Hall of Famer Marshall Faulk, in regards to his intelligence and ability to run routes.
I mean, it speaks volumes, you know, so I just got to keep working and keep learning to get better.
On a roster with Adrian Peterson and Mark Ingram, Kamara won't be the featured back, but he can find his niche as a third-down weapon. His speed has been on display in camp, as well as his versatility, both as a runner and receiver. Perhaps Travaris Cadet is his biggest competition. Kamara is also competing as a return man. The Saints also drafted Alex Anzalone in the third round. He's had an impressive camp so far, standing out in a deep group at linebacker. Still trying to get used to the quarterback play at the next level with more accurate passes and quicker checks, among other things.
The speed of the lines, the defense line and offensive line, I think, just as far as playing the run and everything like that, it's a lot different tempo than college.
Anzalone's biggest challenge is staying healthy. Injuries plagued him at Florida. Physically, he's what you look for in an NFL linebacker. He's versatile, he can play all three spots, can cover, and can rush the passer. So a talented draft class gives fans hope. And the best part, this class seems humble.
You have to be accountable to your teammates and to the organization that you can't make stupid mistakes.
I just stay in my own lane, really.
Continue to learn and listen to the older guys, listen to Drew, listen to the coaches, and learn as much as I can.
Leslie Spoon, 4th down on 4.
All right, good stuff, Leslie. Now, Max Unger's absence is definitely being felt at camp, and our panel of experts mentioned that when we asked about their biggest concern right now.
I think the concern for me, and it's been the concern all week, has been the snaps. You know, Max Unger being out, and the team has struggled with it. And Sean even talked about, he called it an epidemic earlier in the week, and we saw a couple of instances of it today as well. So it's just something that they need to get fixed.
Last year, the NFL as a whole, 68% of the offensive snaps were out of the shotgun. 6 years ago, that number was around 41%. So the proliferation of just shotgun snaps has put a big spotlight on the inability to get the snap back there. Max Unger might be back for week 1. He might not. But right now, with that uncertainty, I think that's a big concern.
High snaps have been a theme of this camp. And I know everybody's going to say, well, Max Unger is going to be back by week 1. Well, that's not guaranteed. And if you have to play a game with Josh Laribas at center, I know Senio Kelemete can play center, but if that's an issue in week 1, and think about that, if you lose a game in week 1 that way because of a high snap, then that's not going to sit well. So that's a concern I certainly have.
It is definitely a concern, and thanks to those guys for lending their opinions to us on 4th down on 4. Now, as of Saturday night, 7 Saints players are now in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, but only 3 went in as Saints: Ricky Jackson, Willie Roaf, and now Morten Andersen.
Good evening, Canton, Ohio. Good morning, Denmark.
The Great Dane and his son Sebastian unveiled the bust that will now be part of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Bum Phillips and the Saints took Andersen in the 4th round back in 1982, and he became one of the most recognized and loved Saints almost immediately.
Far enough. Good. I have a deep love for the city of New Orleans and its football team. Our connections together run deep, and I believe the fans are the most loyal and passionate anywhere. I have great admiration for the spirit and attitude of the people of New Orleans. They taught me, even through hard times, to love life and stay positive.
Andersen played 13 seasons for the Saints. He's the team's all-time leading scorer, and he's now in the Superdome Ring of Honor.
It's fantastic for the Saints. You know, he's the all-time leading scorer in the history of our league, and you know, it's much deserved, and we're happy for him. Obviously, any of the stops he's made, including ourselves and then also Atlanta, he's had an impact on those teams, and we're proud of him.
Andersen was first on the Hall of Fame ballot back in 2013. It took 5 years for the Great Dane to finally get voted in, and he goes in as a Saint.
I will always be a part of New Orleans and always a Saint.
Still ahead, Ed Ogeron had some praise for one Tiger on each side of the ball after LSU's first preseason scrimmage, but there are some concerns up front for his offensive line. And Tulane returns a number of veterans on defense, but it'll be up to their new quarterback to help them compete for a winning season and a bowl berth. LSU held its first scrimmage of training camp this weekend. Remember, the Tigers are not allowing any cameras inside as they try to keep Matt Canada's new offense a secret. Ed Orgeron said this guy, John Ehret's Darrell Williams, led the Tigers in rushing in the scrimmage with 40 yards. Williams scored on a 32-yard touchdown catch. This will be his senior season. And Orgeron praised number 97, senior defensive lineman Frank Herron.
Frank Herron is having a great camp. Frank graduated yesterday. As you know, Frank lost his starting position in the spring, has fought back, has come back in great shape, and today was one of the most dominant players on defense.
Because of injuries along the offensive line, Orgeron said the offense only scored twice in the scrimmage. Danny Etling threw both TD passes.
I thought he did fantastic. I thought his pass was on the money. He was under duress all day with a tremendous rush. His leadership, he's out there probably working out right now. All through camp, he's been consistent. He looks like he's throwing the ball better.
And that is a good thing for LSU. Of course, Etling is coming off back surgery. The Tigers will hold 3 more of what Orgeron calls preseason games before the opener against BYU. Now, Willie Fritz and his players were not shy at the American Athletic Conference Media Day to say their goal this season is to get to a bowl game. Now, reporters who cover the conference picked the Green Wave last.
That's a lot of motivation to our team. You know, we feel like we can be better than that.
And as Tulane opens fall camp, that's definitely the belief uptown. The Green Wave have some extremely talented defensive pieces who were recruited here by Curtis Johnson. Parry Nickerson is now a senior from West Jeff, a shutdown cornerback with a chance to play on Sundays. Defensive end Ade Aruna will definitely get his NFL shot, and Willie Fritz now plans to move him around.
He's put on a little bit of weight. You know, he's about 275 pounds now. I think he came in at about 250. He's a guy that we feel like we could move from a defensive end playing outside the tackles to inside as a 3 technique and maybe get some good pass rush matchups against guards.
Aruna hasn't been shy about his goals. He says he wants to lead the conference in sacks. Brother Martin's Rod Teamer is now a junior, a terrific player at safety. And Destrehan linebacker Rajon Marbley could be the Wave's breakout defensive player this season.
He's had a great offseason. You know, he set all sorts of strength records for us. He's a 245-pound guy that can run, you know, and he's also smart. He's a really smart football player.
Tulane's defense should be solid, but they were solid last year, and the Green Wave finished 4-8. For this team to make any improvement, they have to be significantly better on offense, and that starts with new quarterback Jonathan Banks, whose best skill might be his improvisation.
He never gives up on a play. He never stops. He always plays every play to the very end, and he makes the play happen.
John Curtis Patriots' Sherman Beatty and Scotlandville's Dontrell Hilliard give Fritz 2 extremely talented backs, and Banks can run. Expect a lot of option football from Tulane.
We're going to be great at it. We've been, more focused on having, more backs on the football field at one time rather than just having one back, so it'll open up the offense for us to get all the talent on the field.
An offensive upgrade could be enough to get Tulane over that bowl hump despite the preseason predictions.
I think we're a lot better than what we were last year, but I'm glad they picked us in that position. You hear it all the time. It's where you finish. I've had teams that have been picked really low and finished very high. So, that's why you play the ball games.
It's great to be the underdog, and when that first kickoff happened and the first game started, they'll know from there that we're on a mission. I want to leave a legacy here with me and my brothers, and we just want to go to the bowl and show people who Tulane really is.
And it starts with 3 games against 3 teams that were combined 31-8 last year. Grambling is a very good FCS team. Navy went to the Armed Forces Bowl. Oklahoma finished 6th in the country. The Wave needs 6 wins to be bowl eligible. We're back with more 4th Down on 4 in a minute. With the Great Dane in, here are the Saints Hall of Famers. Ricky Jackson, Willie Roaf, and Morton Anderson did it primarily as Saints. LSU great Jim Taylor went in as a Packer, but played 1 year here. Doug Atkins went in as a Bear. Kenny Stabler as an Oakland Raider, and Earl Campbell did it as a Houston Oiler. That's 7 Saints players total now in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. The Saints practice Monday is closed to the public. The team will be off Tuesday and Wednesday as they get ready for their preseason opener Thursday night in Cleveland. The next open practice is Saturday in Metairie. For Leslie Spoon, producer Danny Rockwell, photographer Adam Ney, and all of us here at Eyewitness Sports, I'm Doug Mouton. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week on 4th Down on 4.